Sometime, when the world forgets your name and even your shadow grows tired of following you, a man can drive for hours without remembering where he started. The mountain road twisted like an old scar beneath a sky heavy with fog. Tom Weaver's van groaned with every turn, coughing smoke and defiance in equal measure. The headlights barely cut through the mist, but he kept his foot steady on the gas. Behind him, his 8-year-old son Eli slept beneath a patched blanket, clutching a toy truck with one missing wheel. The child's breathing was slow and pure, a rhythm that reminded Tom why he was still moving. Every mile was another prayer to nowhere. The rain began again, thin, cold, endless. Tom's knuckles were pale against the wheel. He didn't know if he was running from something or toward anything at all. He only knew they couldn't spend another night behind a gas station dumpster. When the fog thinned for a moment, he saw it. A wooden sign nailed to a crooked post. County foreclosure auction. Abandoned property. Lake Hollow. Minimum bid $20. Tom almost laughed. $20. Less than a single meal. Less than the pity coin strangers tossed at him. But something about the word abandoned echoed deep inside him. Maybe he recognized himself in it. Maybe he was just desperate enough to believe. When the auctioneer raised his clipboard that afternoon, only one voice broke the silence. 20. The man blinked, nodded, and wrote it down. Sold. They gave Tom a rusted key and a map drawn in pencil. He stared at them as though they might dissolve. A key. He hadn't held one in 2 years, not since the bank took their home. As the sun sank behind the ridge, Tom started the van again. In the back seat, Eli stirred. Did we find a place, Dad? Tom hesitated, then smiled. Yeah, kid, he said softly. We found a place. The road narrowed into gravel, then into silence. Trees leaned in close, whispering as the van crawled forward. When they reached Lake Hollow, the world seemed to stop. The lake stretched flat as glass, reflecting the bruised colors of twilight. Across the water, half buried in the hillside, stood the house. Its chimney leaned, its porch sagged, and moss clung to its stone walls like memory refusing to die. A faded sign above the door read, Hollow Rest. They crossed the narrow bridge, each plank groaning underfoot. The door opened with a sigh, releasing air that smelled of damp stone and time. Dust drifted through the light, suspended like frozen rain. Inside, the fireplace stood black with soot, and 2 wooden chairs faced it like old companions waiting for conversation. Eli ran his fingers across the table, leaving trails in the dust. It's old, he whispered. Tom smiled faintly. So am I. They worked until their arms ached, sweeping, mending, patching what they could. When the first fire came to life, its orange glow filled the room like a slow heartbeat returning after years of silence. They ate beans straight from the can. Eli leaned against his father, eyes heavy, voice small. Do we get to stay here? Tom looked at the cracked walls, the leaking roof, the broken porch. Yeah, he said. This is home now. Outside, the lake shimmered beneath the moon, and deep below its surface something moved, slow, deliberate, unseen. Dawn arrived with fog crawling over the lake like a living thing. Tom woke to the sound of dripping, not rain but condensation running down the hearthstones. When he touched the wall, it was warm. That's odd, he muttered. As he cleaned near the fireplace, his broom caught a small wooden box buried under soot. Inside were yellowed letters, a faded photograph of a man smiling beside the same lake, and words written on the back. Take care of this place. It remembers kindness. Tom studied the photo for hours. The man looked proud, content in a way Tom had forgotten humans could be. That night, when the fire died low, he heard it for the first time. A soft vibration in the walls. Not wind, not pipes, something alive, steady, pulsing like a distant heart. Eli pressed his ear to the stone and whispered, It's purring. Tom chuckled, but his laughter carried unease. The sound didn't frighten him. It comforted him, as if the house itself was breathing with them. The next morning, words appeared on the fogged window. You are safe. He wiped them away, but an hour later, they reappeared. Eli swore he didn't write it. Tom didn't either. That night, As the wind whispered outside, he stared at the glowing embers and whispered back, "Thank you." Days passed in the rhythm of rebuilding. Tom fixed what he could, scavenging nails and planks from the shed. Eli collected rocks and stacked them by the lake, saying each one kept the house company. The hum beneath their feet grew softer, more peaceful. Tom started to believe this place had a memory, that every kindness they gave was answered. Then came May Caldwell, a woman with silver hair and hands that smelled of earth. She arrived one afternoon with a box of potatoes and jars of jam. "You're the ones who bought Hollow Rest," she said. "Pay me when life allows." Her eyes were kind but full of warning. That house has a way of keeping what it loves. A week later, Grant Ellison came. "Clean shoes, clean smile." "Taxes," he said, "unpaid. 3 years behind. My employer's ready to settle it if you sign the property over." Tom's jaw tightened. "This isn't for sale." Grant looked toward Eli, then at the lake. "Everything's for sale, Mr. Weaver." When his truck disappeared into the trees, the hum in the walls deepened to a growl. Tom ran his hand over the stone and said quietly, "We'll fight for you." The house answered with warmth spreading under his palm. The storm arrived like an old debt collected in lightning. Wind clawed at the walls, rain hammered the roof, thunder split the mountain sky. The house shuddered but held. When lightning struck the ridge, blue light flickered through the stone like veins beneath skin. Tom held Eli close as the wind howled through the cracks. But as the world outside roared, the hum beneath the floor grew louder, steadier, protecting them like a heartbeat. By morning, silence returned, heavy and sacred. That's when Tom found it, a small green sprout pushing through the cracked stone near the hearth. "It's alive," Eli whispered. Tom knelt beside it, awe in his breath. Together they built a ring of pebbles around it, their tiny cathedral of hope. Each day it grew, and with it their faith. The house began to change. The drafts softened. The air smelled of warmth, of living wood. At night the hum turned gentle, like a lullaby sung in stone. One evening, Tom took the photograph from his coat pocket and set it beside the sprout. The message on the back echoed in his heart. It remembers kindness. He touched the wall and whispered, "Then remember us too." The hum replied, deep and warm. Winter came without snow, just silence and cold, so pure it ached. The lake froze along its edges, and smoke from the chimney hung in still air like a held breath. Each morning Tom stoked the fire while Eli pressed his ear to the wall. "It's saying good morning," he'd whisper. The hum had rhythm now, 27 seconds between pulses, the heartbeat of the house. Then one dawn, Tom found a thin crack in the hearth glowing blue. When he brushed the dust aside, a soft warmth met his fingertips. "Dad," Eli whispered, "it's the lake. It found us." From the crack rose faint mist shimmering like light under water. They caught it in a jar, and when they poured a few drops into the fire, the flames burned blue and strong. The house was sharing its warmth. Word spread in town of the blue house by the lake where fire never died and hearts felt lighter inside. Even Grant came again, eyes greedy. "You've built yourself a miracle, Weaver," he said. "Investors love miracles." Tom stared at him and replied quietly, "You can't own wonder. You can only live inside it." Grant scoffed and left. That night the hum vibrated deep and proud, like laughter beneath the earth. The fever struck suddenly. Eli's skin burned, his voice cracked with delirium. Tom tried everything, blankets, tea, prayers whispered into the fire. Nothing helped. He knelt beside his son and pressed his forehead to the cold floor. "Please," he whispered, "I can't lose him too." Then a tremor ran through the walls. The hum rose to a chorus, filling the house with a blue glow that spread across every stone. The light pulsed in time with Eli's breaths, slow then steady. The fever broke. Tom wept openly, his tears falling onto the stone that warmed under his hands. When Eli opened his eyes, he smiled faintly. "It helped me," he said. "I told it thank you for not being broken." Tom looked around at the patched walls, the glowing hearth, the living tree growing from stone. "Neither are we," he whispered. Spring melted the ice. Birds returned. The sprout had become a small tree. roots coiling through the cracks, green against gray stone. May came again, gasping. It's growing from rock, she said. Tom smiled. Kindness finds its own soil. Grant returned one final time with papers in hand. The county wants to reevaluate, he said. There's something under this land and they intend to study it. Tom looked past him toward the lake. The sunlight shimmered on the surface like something breathing. You can't study a miracle by cutting it open, he said. Grant hesitated. You'll lose everything. Tom stepped closer. We already lost everything once. What we built here, you can't take that. Behind him, the hum deepened, rising like a low growl. Grant backed away, his face pale. You can't fight the world, he muttered. Maybe, Tom said. But this time, the world's not alone. That night, Tom dreamed of the man from the photograph. The stranger smiled beside the lake and said, It doesn't belong to us. We belong to it. When Tom woke, the house was silent except for a slow, steady heartbeat beneath the floor. He finally understood. The hum was never just sound, it was memory, connection, love made tangible. Years passed. The road eroded, the forest reclaimed its edges. Travelers came to Lake Hollow drawn by whispers of a blue house that glowed in the night. Tom never turned anyone away. He offered soup, warmth, and silence. You can't sell peace, he'd say. When they left, they always left something behind, a coin, a story, a book. And the house accepted each gift with a low, contented hum. Eli grew tall, his laughter filling every room. One summer night, as fireflies blinked along the porch rail, he asked, Do you think the house will remember us when we're gone? Tom looked at the tree growing strong beside the hearth, its leaves glowing faintly in the firelight. I think it already does, he said. Eli nodded, then placed the old photograph at the base of the tree. Then let's leave it something to remember. The hum deepened, soft and steady, like joy itself breathing, and long after their laughter faded, the house remained. On still nights, travelers swore they heard music beneath the floorboards, a rhythm of 27 heartbeats, slow and endless. The windows glowed faintly blue, and those who stepped inside said they felt something they hadn't felt in years, peace. As though love itself had decided to stay. If this story found its way to your heart tonight, pause. Leave a like, share it with someone who believes that even broken things can be mended, and subscribe for more stories that remember kindness. And before you go, where are you listening from right now? And what time is it? Wherever you are as you listen to this story.